Hello people, apologise in advance that this little furball is latching on to me today, which is lovely but annoying because really it's just after food and he gets food plenty of times a day. It's just a normal cat in that respect. So the health issues, can't remember what the last update was. I have no idea exactly when the leg was fractured, yet the advice from the GP, they were acting as though the first time it was noticed on an x-ray was the day it happened, which was clearly a load of rubbish because there's no way of knowing. What we do know for an absolute fact is it clearly happened some point before that, and we know that on the basis it's already started to heal, and that means it's at least a week old, if not maybe a few days beyond that. So the advice they gave me of, oh yeah, you want to put lots of use frozen peas or an ice pack, but don't let it touch the skin. That will get the swelling down and that will stop the pain. I tried that. I was in so much pain, it was ridiculous. When I got proper advice, which of course I only ever get online, and that was to say, you only use the ice pack in the first few days. After that, use a heat pad because that will remove the pain. So yeah, thanks GP for causing me more pain than I could manage. The GP itself have been fairly useless. I did manage to get a double appointment with them. But whenever you go there, you don't feel like they're looking at the whole situation. You feel like they put a heading down, deal with that, totally forget what they just did, and then start the new heading, deal with that, totally forget that, and then try and knock as many things off the list as they possibly can. And, that's problematic because if they're all connected, then they're probably missing that vital connection. So, in other words, treating the symptoms rather than the cause. I suspect that potentially, that I'll try and say that in English, potentially, the problem with my taste, whilst not wholly related to, could still be dental related, because the horrible metallic taste definitely started last October when I had a tooth out, and that's obviously a long while ago now, good 6 months. And if that had healed up properly, then I should still be getting that taste. So I tried to mention this to the doctor, and they said, "Oh no, it's a dental issue. You'll have to take that to the dentist." And I said, "But you can't get a dentist in the UK. There are literally no NHS dentists in Northamptonshire. I've looked, there just are not any. The best I could get was the last lot I went to, which is a private dentist, but they charge NHS rates, and clearly their entire focus is to get you in the door and then charge you private rates ASAP. So they did the initial job on an NHS rate of taking the tooth out. Then after that, it was all they were interested in was hygienist work, which was £40 a session. That would have very quickly gone above the maximum threshold of the NHS rates. And I did point out to them that I'm not sure that the situation with the extraction is fully resolved. They just kept saying, "Oh no, but if you keep going to the hygienist, that will solve that problem." And of course, I went a couple of times, it made no difference, just caused me a whole load of extra pain and probably did more damage than it's good. But hell, they made some money out of it, and I guess that's all it really matters these days. So, as the doctor wasn't interested in it, I was hoping to get some antibiotics. What we can now do is go online, answer a few simple questions. If we want to, I didn't need to, but if we want to, we can absolutely lie to them on the form. You don't actually speak to a real person. It's probably AI all the way through. And the way that then works is they will prescribe just about anything you want. So I've got myself some antibiotics. Hopefully, if there is a problem with an infection in my gums or mouth or whatever, that may well clear it up, which will then give me a clue as to at least partly what the problem is. But I think until the NHS starts accepting that they're going to have to do some sort of dental work, whether it be forcing dentists to do it or getting GPs to take on more of the things they can take on. Because obviously, if you've got a gum infection, why does that have to be a dentist? An infection's an infection, right? So that's just anyway. That's that. Um, the the X-ray. I was a bit stupid. I had an X-ray and they diagnosed the fracture. Then the following day, I then went full speed into a planter out in the garden. When I say full speed, it wasn't because I was walking at full speed. I'd actually completely lost my balance, and the speed built up as I was falling. And of course, I hit that full on, exactly the spot on my leg where the fracture is. So back I went to X-ray. Thankfully, no additional damage was caused. I got an extra few days of pain out of it. So it probably put the whole healing process back. The doctor's surgery wanted me to go to physiotherapy, so I made an appointment for that. And physiotherapy department promptly cancelled it, saying that they haven't got the information from the hospital, but it's okay because sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. Like a couple of weeks. So you're sitting at home with a fractured leg, supposedly getting the treatment that you need for it, but you can't because you've got to wait for an admin issue. So no wonder people die so often in this country. So the surgery's solution to that, and look at the logic here, right? Admin could take 2 weeks to get through to the surgery, so they've sent me back to the hospital to go to the fracture clinic so that they can assess the fracture, and then the physiotherapist will get the information, 2 weeks after that, maybe? So effectively, I'm not getting anything done. Just keep taking the pain relief. On average, the pain relief gets me through 4 hours of sleep. So last night I was so tired at 10 o'clock I couldn't stay awake because I took the painkillers, and that kept me going till just after 2. When I woke up, I didn't take all my painkillers before I went to bed. I took some more about 3 o'clock, and I managed to stay asleep until 7 because they were weaker painkillers. So it's not the best sleep in the world, and of course I always wake up in a lot of pain, and that's never nice. Trying to go through my body, seeing what's happened. I've stopped taking the medication that potentially causes the hair loss. So I'll see over the next 6 to 8 weeks whether that improves or not, whether that was a correct decision or just pure guesswork and hoping. I'm grounded. The only way I can get out is by taxi, which thankfully my friend's paying for, but of course I don't feel happy letting him keep paying for that. And so I can't actually remember the last time I went out, probably a hospital visit, which my son took me to. I've got a car sitting outside I can't use. My eyesight is ridiculously blurred and cloudy, so there's no way I could drive, even if it wasn't the pain stopping me. I've got a boot scooter, but right at the moment it's in the boot of the car and I can't get it out because it's too painful to get it out of the boot. Um, my son-in-law has lent me his scooter, which was better than the road legal one that I had. The road legal one that I had got collapsed and put in the shed, and that's really heavy, so I can't put it back together again. And when I tried to use the borrowed scooter the other day, it doesn't work. It worked once, and now it doesn't work, so I'm a bit stuck. Um, so no way of getting anywhere at all. Can't walk more than, well, I'm struggling to get around the house, to be honest. Um, I'm doing an awful lot. I probably should have prepared a script, but that required effort. Speaking of preparing scripts, I've written to the ear, nose, throat department in Northampton. Tried to explain why I feel I need an appointment quicker than the 6 months to a year, which is their timeline. Um, Trying to explain to them that the condition I've got is life changing. It's not life finishing, but it's life changing. When you try to explain to them that I've lost two senses, my sense of smell and my sense of taste, and my sense of hearing keeps coming and going. I mean, at the moment it's not too bad, but I've now got new hearing aids, which is great. Flashy Bluetooth ones, so I can control them. It means that when I am awake at night, I can listen to something without disturbing anyone else in the house. As long as they stay connected, which sometimes they don't. And so yeah, they've received a letter which I've sent by post. I sent it second class, so hopefully that'll be there sometime in April. And also a formal letter to the GP surgery explaining why I feel that they're neglecting my care and what my expectations are from them. Basically, if they tell me that they're doing a wonderful job, there's not a lot I can do. I can go through the complaints process. Well, they've got quite clever down there that basically they have a turnaround period. Let's say it's 6 weeks. It isn't. Let's say it is. And at 6 weeks, I say, this is a very complex case. We need more time. And by more time, they mean several months later, you'll hear from them again saying it's still a very complex case. We're consulting. We'll get back to you. So the last complaint I put in was 7 weeks ago. I got a confirmation to say they've got it. They're going to deal with it. But they've already exceeded their initial time frame with no further contact. So I'm not very optimistic there. I can see myself having to change GP surgery. But all that means is going back to the GP surgery I had to leave several years ago because of how awful they were. So the NHS in the UK is really collapsing. I know I've said this before, but there is no real support unless you're lucky. I don't know how long it's going to take for my eyes to improve. They did once improve, and then over a few days, not very many few days, just about 4 or 5, it went back to the point that it was initially. I've got eye drops that I've got to use for the next 3 weeks. The most powerful of those I finished today. If they're the ones I think they are, my eyesight might start improving because I think they actually create an eyesight problem temporarily whilst they're fixing it. Hopefully I never have to go back to eye casualty again, because I had to put a complaint in about one doctor who was ridiculously disrespectful to me. He kept turning his back on me, so I couldn't hear what he was saying. I explained I wear hearing aids and I have to do a lot of lip reading. But even so, he just kept turning his back on me, and he got angry when I said he had to repeat it. When I asked him the question about how long it would take for my eyes to improve, because I've got a car on lease and I'm paying £80 a week for that, just for it to sit there. So at least if I know how long it's going to take, I can make a judgment whether to get rid of it or not. So that he said, well, if your eyesight's not as important as driving your car, then I'll just write this one off. So he basically scribbled out one of the items that I was supposed to be using. So I didn't get that. So that's one of the reasons I put a complaint in about him, because my medical need was the reason I was there, not his opinion. So when I went to see the last consultant, he spent way too long, probably the best part of 5-10 minutes. I won't say he was raising his voice, but shall we say he was being very stern, and demanding to know why I'd put a complaint about his colleague when his colleague didn't do anything wrong, and he knows his colleague didn't do anything wrong because he wrote everything in his notes. And when I suggested to him that the notes he was reading back were not what happened that day, and I wasn't on my own that day, and I can verify that, he seemed to get even more shirty. But eventually he calmed down. But of course I don't feel I can trust this guy. He doesn't seem interested in my care at all, more interested in himself and his colleague. That's another wonderful thing about the NHS. So I think that's about it. I've worked out that I can taste a lot more when I drink than I can when I eat. So I'm going to have a look at what food supplements I can have, that I can drink. But I don't know. I'm down to one lodger now, so my finances have been halved. So I'm finding that difficult because all of my plans for this year are just gone. It's annoying, frustrating. I keep walking around because I keep getting cats walking around my feet, because both the cats now are arguing. So they're sort of running around fighting. It's a bit distracting for me. It probably would be for you if you were to see it. But at least you're getting a tour of the home, right? And I think that's about it for this one. Hopefully you lot are all okay. Do give me some feedback if you want. Like and subscribe, maybe. It would make it worthwhile, and this is coming up to 18 minutes now, so that's 18 minutes of my life I'll never get back, and I've been in a lot of pain doing this. So for the few seconds it will take to like this video, I'd appreciate it. Subscribing costs you nothing, but it does help me because it gets other people to watch the video. I don't make any money out of these videos, that's never really my point. But I think if we don't share information like this, then we all walk through life a bit blinkered. So thanks for watching again. Until the next time, bye bye.